and supervising the warfare that results in the execution of God's enemies. Mouth is often used synonymously for speech or the power of speech, as can be seen from some of the instances cited above. The rule governing evidence in a case under the Mosaic law, and also followed in the Christian congregation, is that a person may be found guilty only at the mouth, that is, on the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. To 17. 6. Mount 18. 16. Compare to Co 13. 1. A few other examples of similar usage are found at Job 32. 5. Psalms 10. 7. 55. 21. 78. 36. Ezekiel 24. 27. 29. 21. Luke 21. 15. FTN. Romans 15. 6. In addition, mouth may have reference to the opening of something, such as of a well GE 29. 2. A bag GE 43. 12. 44. 1, 2. A cave Jos 10. 22. Or to an opening in the earth New 16. 32. As well as to the ability of the earth to absorb liquids poured onto it GE 4. 11. Sheol, mankind's common grave, is spoken of as having a wide mouth, so as to receive many dead. Issa 5. 14. The palate. The palate is the roof of the mouth, which separates the mouth from the nasal cavities. It has a soft part that forms a curtain between the mouth and the pharynx. In the scriptures, palate is, in some cases, used synonymously with mouth. P8. 7. O8. 1. FTN. Both Job and Elihu make a comparative use of the word when they liken the palate's ability to discriminate taste to man's judgment as to what is right and wise. Job 12. 11. 34. 3. That the palate has a function in tasting is not erroneous, as is sometimes claimed. This can be seen by observing the part played by the palate in swallowing. Food is pressed by the tongue against the palate and spread out as it moves back into the pharynx, which is a cone-shaped tube leading toward the stomach and connecting also with the nasal passages. This brings about better diffusion of the aroma of the food into the nasal passages, which greatly contributes to what is commonly called taste. Mosai going forth. 1. A descendant of Judah and son of Caleb by his concubine Fr. 1 ch 2. 46. 2. A Benjamite and descendant of King Saul. He was the son of Zimri and father of Binea. 1 ch 8. 33-37. 9. 42, 43. Mosa drained pressed. Squeezed out. A Benjamite city. Jos 18. 21, 26. The ancient site is considered to be at or near Kalunium of Aseret Zion, a village about 7 kilometers 4.5 MWNW of the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. Jar handles stamped with the name Mosa have been found at Jericho and Tel Nazbeh. Muleheb. Pered. Pia middle dashi mule. The hybrid offspring of Ahias and Amer. The mule's body resembles that of the horse, but its short, thick head, long ears, short mane, small feet, and tail otextoi acute muritra longo. Mapim 450 Isaiah, indicated that mules would be one of the means of transport for bringing his scattered people to Jerusalem. Issa 66. 20. It is therefore of note that in fulfillment of prophecy those returning from Babylonian exile brought with them 245 mules in addition to other beasts of burden. As 2. 66. NE 7. 68. Humans are counseled not to make themselves persons without understanding, like a horse or a mule whose spiritiness must be curbed by means of a bridle or a halter. PS 32. 9. Mapim. One of the sons of Benjamin GE 46. 21. Evidently identical with Shephapim New 26. 39, Shephapim 1 ch 8. 5, and Shapim 1 ch 7. 12. Murder. The original language words variously rendered kill, murder, and slay refer to the taking of a life, the context or other scriptures determining whether the deliberate and unauthorized or unlawful taking of another person's life is involved. For example, in the command, "You must not murder" X 20. 13. The Hebrew word for murder zach here clearly refers to deliberate and unlawful killing. But at Numbers 35. 27 the same term denotes an act that an avenger of blood was authorized to carry out. Therefore, the command, "You must not murder," has to be understood within the framework of the entire Mosaic law, which authorized the taking of human life under certain circumstances, as in the execution of criminals. Early history. Almost from the beginning of human history, murder has been known. Through his disobedience, the first man Adam passed sin and death to his offspring, thus, in effect, proving himself to be a murderer. Row 5. 12. 6. 23 It was the devil who deliberately contributed to this development by inducing Adam's wife Eve to sin, thus himself becoming a manslayer, a murderer, at the beginning of his course as a slanderer of God. Ge 3. 13. Jo 8. 44. Less than 130 years afterward, the first violent murder, a fratricide, occurred. Cain, Adam's firstborn son, motivated by envious hatred, murdered his righteous brother Abel. Ge 4. 1-8, 25. 5. 3 For this act Cain was cursed in banishment to become a wanderer and a fugitive in the earth. Ge 4. 11, 12 Not until after the flood of Noah's day did God authorize humans to administer capital punishment for murder. Ge 9. 6. Under the law. Centuries later the Mosaic law was given to the Israelites, and it included extensive legislation regarding the taking of human life. It differentiated between deliberate and accidental slaying. Factors considered as weighing against a person claiming to be an accidental manslayer were: if he one had been a former hatter of the slain person to 19. 11, 12. Compare Jo's 20. 5, 2 had lain in wait for the victim new 35. 20, 21, or 3 had used an object or implement capable of inflicting a mortal wound new 35. 16-18. Even slaves, if killed while being beaten by their masters, were to be avenged. X 21. 20 Whereas the death penalty was prescribed for deliberate murderers and a ransom was ruled out in their case, unintentional manslayers could preserve their lives by availing themselves of the safety accorded them in the cities of refuge. X 21. 12, 13. New 35. 30, 31. Jo's 20. 2, 3. See cities of refuge. Certain deliberate acts that indirectly caused or could have resulted in the death of another person were considered tantamount to deliberate murder. For example, the owner of a goring bull who disregarded previous warnings to keep the animal under guard could be put to death if his bull killed someone. In some cases, however, a ransom could be accepted in place of the life of the owner. Undoubtedly the judges would take circumstances into consideration in such a case. X 21. 29, 30 Also, an individual scheming to have another person killed by presenting false testimony was himself to be put to death. The 19. 18-21. The law permitted self-defense, but restricted an individual's right to fight for his property. Blood guilt camo text to acute miritra longo. Music 451 Murder with wrong attitudes such as an individual's continuing wrathful with his brother, speaking abusively to him, or wrongly judging and condemning him as a despicable fool. Mount 5. 21, 22 Such hatred may lead to actual murder. It appears that the words of James 5. 6, you have condemned, you have murdered the righteous one, may be understood in this light. Wicked rich persons who showed hatred for genuine disciples of God's Son and took oppressive action against them did in some instances actually murder these Christians. As treatment accorded to his brothers is considered by Christ Jesus to be meted out to him, these persons had also figuratively murdered him, and James evidently had that in mind. Compare Jas 2. 1-11. Mount 25. 40, 45. Act 3. 14, 15. Although followers of Christ might be persecuted and even murdered for righteousness' sake, they were not to be found suffering for having committed murder or other crimes. Mount 10. 16, 17, 28. 1 PE 4. 12-16. Re 21. 8. 22. 15. Mushi, grandson of Levi and son of Merari. X 6. 16, 19 Mushi became father to 3 sons and founded a family called the Mushites. 1 Ch 23. 23. New 26. 58. Mushites possibly, of belonging to Moses. A Levite family that descended from Mushi the son of Merari. New 3. 17, 20, 33. 26. 58. Music. One of the gifts of God by which man can render praise and thanksgiving to his Creator as well as give expression to his emotions, his sorrows and joys. Especially has singing been prominent in the worship of Jehovah God, but instrumental music, too, has played a vital role. It has served not only to accompany the vocalists, but also to complement their singing. So it is not surprising that references to both vocal and instrumental music abound in the Bible from beginning to end, in association with true worship and otherwise. GE 4. 21. 31. 27. 1 Ch 25. 1. Re 18. 22. History. The Bible's first reference to music is before the flood, in the 7th generation following Adam. Jubal proved to be the founder of all those who handled the harp and the pipe. This may describe the invention of the first musical instruments, or perhaps even the establishment of some kind of musical profession. GE 4. 21. In patriarchal times music